Hello and welcome to episode 101 of Kaiju Curry House, the fortnightly show that gives you a healthy dose of kaiju goodness every other Monday. I'm Paul Williams, joined today by Connor Baxter, and today we're going to be talking about a whole host of goodies and greatness within the kaiju world. But first of all, Connor, can you tell me what have kaiju been up to?
Well, Paul, it's been a very eventful couple of days, in particular on the Twitter world, but we'll get to that in a second. So, firstly, um, I've been busy working on the kaiju, the UK kaiju merch as of late,
Excellent
that
stuff.
Joe teased last episode. Um, Not going to say what it is, but it is really early stages yet. But like I mentioned in the previous episodes, I am using Blender to sculpt this rather than ZBrush, and I'm starting to really like Blender as a piece of software. And really, I think a lot more kaiju artists need to actually try it out. Especially those that want to sculpt monsters in really high detail without having to spend, say, like an arm and a leg on ZBrush.
So,
Um,
what's the difference between these two, as someone who knows nothing about sculpting?
Well, ZBrush is basically just a sculpting software. So um, I think the best way to put it is it's not really 3D. So it's like I think it's voxel based. If this is probably going to go over your head to say, but basically when you're sculpting in ZBrush, it's almost like a 2D image that you're carving into pretty much. Whilst in Blender, Blender is actually a 3D modeling software, right? Um, which is used for animation. It's used for real-time rendering, texturing, and all that. Basically, all the 3D jargon you can think of, pretty much.
Okay.
It's an all-in-one piece of kit, really, and it's free. But yeah, so anyone can do it, and yeah, and the other one is I got into a bit of hot water recently on Twitter, as I previously mentioned, with a certain kaiju author called Norman England. Um, basically, it started with a thread basically talking about thoughts on like CGI being used on tokusatsu films, right? So I basically commented, basically um, saying that suitmation and motion capture are very much alike, but it's just one's an evolution of the other. And basically, Mr. England, he got a bit upset, I suppose, at
He
this.
disagreed, did he,
He,
with your
he
comment?
disagreed in a very pretentious way, and and I think it just goes to show that sometimes in the kaiju community there can be sort of like elitists at times. Like it would be fun. I think what bothers me was he didn't say he disagreed with me, right? He just pretty much his response was pretty much like, "No, you're wrong." Pretty much that sort of response, and I don't know. I just feel like if you have an opinion on something, you have to be courteous. I think, and basically explain your point, really. Um, which is a pity. I've never read any of Norman England's books, and sure he has worked on various film sets, but everyone has the right and opinion, and I think there's definitely better ways in disagreeing um, than just flat out saying you're wrong, pretty much.
Yeah. I suppose the problem with Twitter is it's what's it, 140 characters they say. I think so. It's hard for him to get a point across, but I know a lot of times it can come across as quite short when people say things because it's the internet and you say what's on your mind and then just leave almost, don't you? So it can rub people the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it would be great to have a debate more on that because he worked with some of the original Godzilla suit actors, didn't he? So he knows that side of things, but I don't know how involved he is in the motion capture side of things.
That's true.
So
Yeah.
he might he I guess he has one side of the story, and so he's yeah siding with that.
I mean, to me at least, the whole motion capture debate is it's essentially a man in a suit. If you think about it, it's a man in a suit that brings a creature or character to life, just like the tokusatsu effects of old. That's the way that I put it. It's just like an evolution of that. Um, and, you know, that's all I can say about that, really. Yeah, at this moment in time. But yeah.
It's difficult because I think I I think it is different in the fact that in that suit acting is different because you can't probably see very. You've got low visibility, and yet you've
Mhm.
got to. If you're destroying a city or having a battle, you've got to know how to walk, where to walk. You've probably got your hot, got this heavy suit on. I remember when we had Tim on talking about dinosaurs that they wore
Mhm.
these huge animatronic heads, and it was very painful for them, and they had someone controlling like the eyes and the mouth remotely, and so it was such a challenge for them to try and act, or do things in that. Whereas motion capture gives them a lot more freedom, but it also means they capture the facial animation, so they've really got to act both facially and with movement like a creature to make it
Mhm.
seem realistic. So they're the same but also different, and it would be great to have someone that's done both to tell us, the pros and cons of both.
Yeah, if we can get professional on, just settle this once and for all, really. But oh dear.
Well, we've had a host of motion capture actors on, but I don't think we've had any suit actors on. So
That's true.
I think that's our next job, isn't it? We need to track down someone who's wore a suit and can tell us just how difficult it is.
Mhm. Um, I would say the guy that plays M11 in Godzilla versus
Oh,
King Ghidorah,
Scott Field, isn't it?
Robert Scott
Robert
Field,
Scott
that's it.
Field, that's it.
Yeah, he I believe he was Ultraman in a series. I might be wrong, but
Okay.
yeah. I might be completely wrong, folks. So yeah, don't. This is just something that I heard at least, but I'm sure that he would probably um, be an interesting guest. But yeah. Um, but anyways, Paul, what have Kaiju been up to?
I haven't been up to a huge amount, but I'll tell you what I've been up to, and we'll just go there. So I tried to watch the Sea Beast
All right.
because Joe, was raving on about how great it was. So I stuck it on with the kids, thinking, okay, I'll watch it with the kids because I don't think I'm the target audience. I think it's skewed towards the younger
Oh
crowd.
yeah.
That's what I would say. My eldest, who's 11, did not care at all. He was just like, nah, not for
No.
me. My youngest, who's 4, he was in and out of it. Some bits he was, intensely watching. Other bits he wasn't so much. And he got 30 minutes into it, and then he left the room.
Oh dear.
So I mean, it wasn't terrible by any means because he did enjoy parts of it, but I don't know, it didn't seem to grip the youngest, but it also didn't appeal to the eldest, and then I couldn't be bothered to watch it on my own. Um, it didn't seem bad anyway, but it didn't stand out as this amazing film that I should be watching. So
Uh,
I don't know. Maybe I'll
my
go back to it, but
yeah, like my opinion on it was because I saw it recently as well, and I like the style of some of the character designs. I really like that. Like it's not really like Pixar-esque some of the
okay.
character designs. Um, like it has a unique style. Like the same with the other like sea monsters, right? I will say the main one, Red. Um, I felt was very much like the dragons in How to Train Your Dragon in terms of like the design, I suppose, of like it's like a very um carved sort of like features and all that. And it kind of came across as derivative a bit to that design, but
Okay.
nevertheless, the another thing to point out was Carl Urban as the main character. I forget what his name is. Um, the thing is, if you watch The Boys, you can
Oh,
only
of
just
course.
You can only just think of Billy Butcher every time he speaks. So it's just,
Oh,
it's like this family friendly kids movie, and they just associate it with like, oh god, oh dear. But yeah. Um,
okay.
Actually, did you see the trailer for the there's one film coming to Netflix. It's about giant robots fighting in Japan, I think. I'm not sure what it is.
Giant robots, what, just fighting each other, or
I think the idea is like they're supposed to be brothers or something, or like one's like a newer model and one's like an older model, I think.
I have not seen that at all. No.
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, it's like I'm all for more like CG sort of like giant monster movies, but uh I don't know because I know that these movies are not aimed towards me, so like a 28-year-old. But sorry, yeah. So who knows? But
Okay, no, I haven't seen that one. I found out that Dawn of the Monsters has a comic. It's just a small 6-page comic book, but they said it will be included with each copy of the game that is being sold through limited run.
yep.
So I pre-ordered mine whenever they opened up the pre-orders back in March, I want to say, and I'm sure they'll release a limited amount when it actually gets released in, I'm going to say October time, because they said about 6 months for it to be produced. So I'm looking forward to getting a bonus comic because I wasn't expecting that. So that's pretty cool. Um, I've been playing the game Death Stranding,
Oh
which
yeah,
isn't really kaiju related at all, apart
yeah.
from there. I there's like this. I want to say it's like a whale or something. I don't know. There's some really weird black creature with like tentacles coming out. You can't really see; it's just so black. Um, and the sea is black. But I was climbing up a building and it was pulling down the buildings as I was throwing grenades at it. It looked pretty cool, and it's an awesome game so far. I'm loving it. So
Yeah,
throwing that out
it's
there.
I do remember when Death Stranding first came out on the PS4, and I did have that. And it was I played it for a bit and kind of gave up. I suppose maybe I just quit too early, But yeah,
Okay, it's
like
now not it's not free to play, but it's in the new revamped PS Plus
yeah,
thing, and I'm playing it on PS5, and yeah, I thought, oh, so you just walk around, but when the PTs from this, I don't know, they're not creatures, are they? They're just giant people, saying from the other side, and you just see their footsteps appear in the ground, and all the flowers around you start to die, and you can hold your breath. It's pretty intense, and I could imagine that being with a creature. I would love to see Kojima do that type of gameplay, but with some giant invisible beast. I think that'd be pretty damn cool.
I would love to see Kojima actually make a movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, he practically does.
Yeah.
It's
Oh
amazing to
man.
see because it's got Del Toro and Norman Reedus and Madsen Nicholson. It's just wow. Look at all these names in it.
Now I might be wrong, but isn't there 4 hours worth of cutscenes in that game? I might be wrong, but
I wouldn't be surprised for Kojima game. I
mhm.
remember playing Metal Gear Solid 4, and I think one cutscene was about 30 minutes long on its own.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Oh
it could
man.
be. And he did, yeah, in Metal Gear Solid 4. I know, not Kaiju, but there were the two mechs. We had Metal Gear Rex and Metal Gear Ray. And Ray is basically like a sea serpent type robot. And there's this big battle between the two of them. And so, again, Kojima could easily direct a Mecha versus Kaiju game, a movie, sorry. And he saw Shin Godzilla twice at the cinemas, so I know he's a Kaiju fan.
Oh yeah. Have you ever played Metal Gear Solid 3? Um,
Yes, yes, Snake Eater, yeah.
yes. Um, that also has a very obvious like kaiju reference near the start if you save where a paramedic tells Snake like she asks Snake if he's seen Godzilla, which in the context of the game, Godzilla is practically a brand new movie at the time. So, hey,
Of course, yeah, because was that set in the 50s, that one?
I think it's the 60s.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm not sure. I need to play Snake Eater. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't played that in such a long time, but
it's
yeah,
such a good game. But Oh
But he
man.
loves throwing pop culture references anywhere. So yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I want to see. I want to see a Kojima kaiju movie.
There was a there was a thing with Conan O'Brien, who of course was like an American like talk show
Yeah,
host, and you can watch it on YouTube. He goes to I believe it's Kojima Productions for like promoting Death Stranding, I think at the time, and Kojima's got like a glass cabinet just full of collectibles
yeah.
just in his office,
He's a massive geek, isn't he?
and one of them is the beta capsule from Ultraman, and
Oh, okay.
and basically it's the device that Shin Hayata in Ultraman uses to transform into Ultraman. So you know, just and I think if I remember correctly, Conan O'Brien says it looks like something else that I can't mention. But so,
Okay.
oh dear.
And other than that, I've been starting to read. I've been reading for quite a while, but I'm actually getting building up some pace now. I'm reading The Relic
Oh yeah,
because me and Joe watched the film, and then we had the debate, and he was saying how much better the book was, and how the film was different because it cuts out scenes and characters. So it's really interesting to read the book after seeing the film. And I now the problem is I picture the characters how they were in the film, which is probably not quite right because I think they are different in the book. But
yeah. That's happens with me sometimes if I see a film first before reading a book. You know, it's kind of hard to disassociate the film with the book. You know, but
yeah.
yeah.
But I'm enjoying it, and I look forward to seeing how it differs. I'll give my report within probably take me a month or two to read it, but when I get there, I'll definitely talk about it. Um, right now, I've had a couple of kaiju conversations, and
Ooh.
there has been some news and like releases and stuff. Do you want to go into kaiju conversations or
Um, yeah, go
some
for it.
news? Yeah, okay. Because I do have a question for you.
Oh,
Yeah. So, Tom Tyler has written in with a couple of questions.
Tommy Boy.
I'll say one's for me and one's for you because one's about Prey, which you haven't seen yet, and one is specifically aimed at you, and it says, "What got you into Ultraman, and how do you think that the Netflix take on Ultraman compares to the older style version of Ultraman?"
Okay, so I got into Ultraman by chance because I saw the DVD one time and like, okay, I'll buy that. um,
So this is
so
just an impulse buy, was it in the shop or something?
it legitimately was like an impulse buy. Fun fact about that DVD is even though it was released, technically, it was technically an illegal release because there was a legal dispute with a company called Chayo and Subaraya, right? And Subaraya is the original creators of Ultraman, and Chayo somehow weaseled themselves to allegedly get the international rights to, was it 5 of the Ultra shows? And basically, in the end, the court found that Chayo had no legal right whatsoever to release these releases.
Oh,
And
whoops.
so that was my first experience with the Ultra series. But after that, once Mill Creek started releasing the official Ultraman Blu-rays with the nicer quality prints and all that, because these were filmed on film, mind you, and they look fantastic on Blu-ray. That's when I really started getting into Ultraman, and yeah, I've been a fan ever since. And as for my opinion on the Ultraman anime that's on Netflix, it's poop. I don't like it.
Wow. Okay, that was
uh,
it's poop.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, the reason being is it's like so it's a sequel to the 1966 original series, right?
Is it? I have no idea.
Right. So basically, it ignores all the other Ultra series from like the 60s and 70s onwards. Um, and basically it's dark and depressing and everyone's miserable in the show and it's just you go from this happy-go-lucky like show about a guy that turns into a giant to this really dark depressing show, and there's no kaiju in it whatsoever, or the kaiju are human sized or roughly around human size. There's no giant monsters. Except from like the last episode of the second season where they introduce King Joe, who is a staple of the Ultraman series, and they take him out in like one shot, you know, and it's just like, um,
Okay, so I've only
and
seen the first season of the Netflix show, and I
yeah,
really enjoyed it.
yeah,
But then I haven't seen any of the live action Ultraman, so I can't really comment on how it compares.
let's see, giant humanoid that transforms or guy in mech suit. You
Well, you
choose.
say that, but it's like because I watched Guyver. That was like the first anime I watched, and that was also by chance, like you. I just happened to find it in a Woolworths, and I was like, yeah, I'll give that a show. That looks cool. It's a cartoon and it's rated 15. Yeah, go for it.
I've only
Um,
ever seen the film The Guyver. I haven't seen
okay,
the
yeah.
show.
There's a whole anime, and that's just a school kid who comes across some armor that lets him fight monsters, and they're all people size. So watching Ultraman, it was almost like that, I guess, and I
But that's the
enjoyed that.
thing. That's the thing, though. It's like Ultraman is already a pre-established brand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I suppose watching it, I completely forgot that he grew big because, as you say, it's not in the cartoon, and yeah, it was.
No. Oh dear. There's actually another Netflix Ultraman coming out soon. It's made by an American studio, I believe. It's I believe it's like a fully animated feature film, which is like I don't know if it's going to be like a reboot, like it's just ignoring the other stuff. But
So, oh, okay, that's an interesting choice. You think they'll just
mm,
carry on with what they've already got?
yeah, they've only got like maybe like one teaser poster which shows Ultraman, and he's basically they're using his 1960s design for it.
Yes, I
So
did see that poster, and I
hmm,
had no idea. I
yeah.
assumed it was for the new film. To be honest, when I saw it, I thought it was the Shin Ultraman.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, Shin Ultraman, I hear that's now getting an international release.
Yes, it is.
So it
Yeah.
will be coming to Europe and to America. So I say we should be able to see it at the cinemas, but I have heard today that Cineworld's closing down, or is at least filing for bankruptcy. So we might not be able to see it at cinemas,
Mm.
but
To,
it'll probably get a streaming release.
to be fair, Cineworld seats are not that comfortable, so I'm not too. I'm not. I'm being very savage tonight. I've noticed,
They
but
are. I mean, that's because there's like 100 cinemas. I know they're not doing great, but
hmm,
it's an awful lot just to go. So I'm hoping they stay, or at least keep a handful, and
I
have
th
it for some releases because I mean it's a nice experience, the cinema, just not very often, especially not with the cost of living crisis going on at the moment.
that's true. Yeah, I think as well. Streaming services are also to blame for the death of cinema, if that's the
Absolutely.
case. Yeah, because I don't know. It's just I think this is probably topical, but I think when COVID happened and everyone was basically stuck at home, not going to the cinemas and all that, I think stuff like Netflix or Amazon Prime just basically became very convenient, pretty much. Like
Yeah.
there's no need to go out and buy expensive popcorn and all that. But I don't know. But yes. Anyways.
Anyways, okay. The second part of Tom's question was, what was it now? There it was. So Prey, which again you haven't say, he really enjoyed it. He said it was pretty flawless and true to what the Predator franchise is about. But if we could change one thing and one thing only about Prey, what would it be?
The
Now I
CGI
know you've got
on
an answer. Yeah, so you've got an answer to that already without even seeing the film.
yes, from the clips that I have seen. Sorry, this is your question. You should answer
Well,
first.
no, I mean, I've seen the film and I don't really have any complaints about it. I enjoyed it. I suppose the one thing I would say you could add, but at the same time, I liked it about the film would be the fact there's no real story for the Predator. It's just you see a Predator get dropped off on the planet and have a fight. Well, yeah, all the other Predator films have kind of slowly added some lore into it, whereas this one was just a complete standalone, which
Hmm.
works. I think it helped the film, but it's just yeah, I just like to know a bit more about the Predator. So
It does sound very similar to the first film,
it
where
is very
basically,
much like the first. So I mean, it would be. You could certainly say this would be the first Predator film, but they do show off the Predator quite early,
hmm,
and I think that's disappointing because if this was, and I think will be the first introduction to a lot of people, they really should have built a bit more suspense about what he looks like.
At the same time, it's the fifth film in the franchise.
It is, but there's always new audiences, and because it's on Disney Plus, people might think, "Oh, it's not even called Predator, is it?" You know, that's almost like the way it's like this is a reboot, and if you like it, hey, there's lots of other films you could watch.
Yeah. I will say as well, I was about to say my gripe, but I haven't even seen it, and I really have a gripe with
I
it.
love that.
Yeah. Um, the clips that I've seen that show off the Predator's design, right? Now, I can be a grumpy sod at times, and I'll just say that um, I didn't like the design of the Predator's face when I saw it,
Okay.
because I feel like in every film, the Predator design has gotten worse and worse, I think. I don't know what it is that it just seems off, and but now I'm kind of like, okay, maybe the design's not too bad. The new Predator design, especially the behind the scenes footage, which shows the like this really cool animatronic mask that they made, and it's like all the mandibles move on their own and all that. It's like, oh wow, this looks like a real creature. So please tell me, why did they replace the face with CGI?
They obviously weren't happy with the animatronic version and thought, let's CGI it up. I'd have to see the two side by side to compare.
It
I thought
looks
it was strange when I first saw it. I thought, well, that's a different face. But
the
I mean, as we said previously, the Predator evolves because, as we found out in The Predator, they're
oh
hunting
dear,
and they're changing their DNA to become better hunters. That's why it's different in
that's
each one.
that that film was an experience seeing it.
I had fun with that film. I have fun with all the Predator films, to be fair. So I
Oh
know
man.
it's big dumb and a little bit of cheese thrown in, but it also threw in a lot of lore and yeah, I'll watch it again.
Mm. It's I will say if the CGI of the Predator's face reminds me a lot of The Thing from 2011, where the Studio ADI did the special effects for the prequel to The Thing, and if you look at the effects on Studio ADI's YouTube channel, it's like amazing, like wow, they really went basically 100% with these practical effects, and they've replaced it all with CGI. It's just yeah, and it's like even like the pilot, like basically the pilot thing at the end, basically the main big thing or something like that,
Yeah,
is a completely different design. They use a completely different design for the puppets compared to what they used in the film, which I think in the film, if I remember correctly, they used a CGI version of someone's face, like a human's face, on the creature, and it just looks doesn't look great. It's like I know that the thing is supposed to be like very uncanny, like uncanny valley, but there's uncanny valley, and then there's just bad CGI.
oh, oh. I can't remember the film that well, but
Yeah. What's interesting
I'll check it
is
out again.
when they released the 4K version of John Carpenter's The Thing, they actually bundled it, the prequel thing, as like an extra,
Oh, okay. Well,
So,
nothing wrong
so
with
if
that.
yeah, well, it's like you have a nice dinner, and then it's like some out of date food.
That's one way to look at it.
Yeah.
And one more thing, not so much a kaiju conversation, but a kaiju comment. I had a message from M regarding episode 100,
Mhm.
and she decided to celebrate episode 100 with us by making a bit of a game
Oh,
out of it. So she watched episode 100 on YouTube, which is always nice to hear, and she would have a sip of lemonade every time a certain key word came up, such as kaiju or Godzilla.
right.
And I think she said she lasted about 15 minutes and then had to stop playing the game.
Oh God.
But it's great to hear that our audience are, having fun
Well,
and enjoying the show in different ways. So,
that gives us ideas for episode 200 every time Kaiju and Godzilla is mentioned.
Yeah, yeah. We should definitely make up our own game.
Oh,
Kaiju Curry House play along.
God.
But on that note, I think we'll have a quick break and then come back for a bit more of a discussion.
Woohoo. Welcome back to Kaiju Curry House. This is episode 101. I'm Connor, that's Paul, and I believe that a certain film has came out in Thailand, Paul.
Yes, yeah. Apparently, The Lake released in Thai cinemas on the 18th of August. So, yeah, very, very recently. A bit. I saw a tweet with someone saying it wasn't doing great, but
Oh no.
but I mean, that's Twitter, that's the internet, and that's when it hasn't really been out. So that's
Yeah.
it. Could just be someone having a whinge. I
That,
don't know. I did have a quick look online about the film because I'd seen the poster of a lake and a creature's back, and so I assumed that this was going to be probably a creature in a lake, and it wasn't going to be a very big creature, and maybe there'll be some people out in a boat, and it'd be that you wouldn't see the monster until perhaps that right at the end. But then I saw the trailer, and no, this is a monster standing on its legs, destroying the city. It seems very, I don't say run of the mill, but it seems like a standard monster film. And I thought it was more of a kind of Jaws horror type film. So
mm,
I don't know if that's better or worse, but I still want to see it.
yeah. Um, from what I've seen the trailer, it actually looks. I'm going to be honest with you. When I heard that the synopsis about the film, or basically the rundown, I didn't think it was going to look that great. But no, color me surprised. No, they actually looks like a fairly decent looking kaiju film.
Ringing
But
endorsement there.
yeah, unfortunately, now you mentioned it, that you thought it was going to be a small creature. I kind of wished it was like the slime beast, but oh dear. Um,
Well, I saw a quote from the director Lee Thonkum, probably
mm,
pronounced wrong. And he said, this movie will bring back the nostalgia of when we first loved the original monster movies with animatronics and puppets. But the most exciting thing about this movie is watching this monster movie with 40% CGI.
ooh,
So we're going to say, so it's 60% practical, 40% CGI. You will feel the real and spectacular scope and scale from Thai cinema, the realness of the monsters' stomps, the realness of the monsters' roar, and so forth. This monster genre has been used in so many territories, but what makes our monster stand out from the rest is that it is real and it has a unique ability which we can't give out the main plot point. But rest assured, there'll be a reason why we chose to use animatronic giant monsters in this story.
I think the main plot point is a monster attacks the city.
Well, that's what I thought. But it's got a unique ability, and that's going to show why they chose animatronics over CGI. So I'm intrigued.
Mm,
Let's
yeah,
let's see. I mean, I know I'm going to watch it anyway, but I am now more curious about what can't they do with CGI that they can do with practical effects? Because
that's
it's
a good
always the other way
question.
around.
Um, that's what I'm actually trying to think of
Yes,
something.
there is. Apart from the fact, as you say, it's more real. So if they're
Mm,
using an animatronic 60% of the time, then we know it's going to be a bit more real. Well, it might not be real looking. We don't know. I don't know what the budget's like, but hopefully it'll be like Jurassic Park, where it's the perfect blend of CGI and
mm,
puppetry to give that sense of realism.
yeah. Um, which I will say, that original Jurassic Park film has aged surprisingly well in terms of like
It has.
because of it. Yeah.
It's what,
And
nearly 30 years old now,
oh yeah, definitely.
and
Yeah.
yeah, it's still amazingly good.
Yeah. It's a pity about the sequels that I don't know
What do you mean? What,
the
did you not see Jurassic Park 3?
blasphemy. Um, no, those original three Jurassic Park films do tend to blend CGI with puppets quite well,
Yeah.
but they did kind of get lazy of it with the Jurassic World films. Like I know in Dominion they did use a lot more puppets, but The dinosaurs still don't look as good, I don't think.
Oh,
But,
what's in the originals?
yeah, pretty much. Oh dear.
Well, I'm looking for. I haven't seen Dominion yet, but I will be seeing it in a few weeks with a friend. I'm really looking forward to it.
Mhm.
It's like the end of an era.
I'd cry a tear of sadness, but I'm not.
um, while we're talking about Jurassic Park, we're going to take a segue. Godzilla vs Kong has been nominated for a Saturn Award of Best Sci-Fi Film,
Mm,
and I believe the other films, according to Google anyway, for this category are Nope, Jurassic World Dominion, Free Guy, Dune, and Crimes of the Future. So one of them is going to win Best Sci-Fi Film. Now, I don't know if that's based on the story or the effects or you know, what the criteria is. I can't, unless it's effects, I can't see Godzilla vs. Kong winning.
to be fair, Godzilla vs. Kong is the only one that I've actually seen after that list as well. So,
Well, I've seen Free Guy, and that was it was good fun. I've
mm,
seen Dune, and I know it got a lot of hype. I didn't care for it. And Nope looks great, but I mean that's like a horror, isn't it? It's about aliens. It just doesn't look like it couldn't compete against Jurassic World and Godzilla vs Kong for effects or
mm.
Doom for that matter. So I don't know what their criteria is, but they've just obviously done a bunch of sci-fi films and just said, hey,
June's another film I still need to see at some point. I've seen the original June, the
okay, yeah.
one, yeah, that's a very fun, confusing film, and I attempted to read the book a while back. Keyword being attempted to read the book. Oh God, I gave up just like a chapter and pretty much like
Is it quite a big book?
yeah, it's about that thick,
All right,
roughly.
okay.
Yeah, and there's sequels to June as well. So basically, I don't think the sequels are as long as the first book for some reason. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. All the June fans are going to come after me in a second. But
Well, I know this new film. It's only the first part of it, and it
hmm,
was quite a long film. It feels like Lord of the Rings all over again, where it's kind of setting the scene for the greater things to come.
hmm, yeah, it's definitely on my list. I will say that of films to see. Maybe just maybe I'll finally understand the plot. But oh dear. But hey, giant sandworms. I like me some giant sandworms.
Who doesn't like giant sandworms
You know,
or smallish sandworms?
that's true.
Right. Are you a fan of Godzilla versus Destroyer?
Yes, I am,
You
Paul.
are.
Are you a fan of Godzilla versus Destroyer?
I remember enjoying the film, but I haven't. I'm trying to think if I've seen it more than once. So I don't know if I'm a big fan of it, but I do own it, and I should probably watch it again. But I
You
think I
need,
own it on US DVD, so I can only watch it on my region free player.
that's true. Oh, the joys. You know, like
Yeah,
yeah, good old Sony and the region locked Blu-rays. That's
exactly.
yeah.
But Cavity Colors, who are a brand who it seems to make clothing, they've recently announced or released. I saw a tweet the other day about it. There's a number of T-shirts that have like Godzilla and Destroyer artwork on, and they did look pretty cool.
Mm.
So if you're a Godzilla fan, then have a search online for Cavity Colors and get yourself some new clothing.
Unfortunately, I don't think they have a T-shirt which depicts Godzilla melting into a puddle of mush. But hey ho.
No, I think there's one of like Godzilla's face. It's like that suit's face with some lightning around it, and then it's the Destroyer work that looked better, I'd say.
Mhm.
Destroyer's a pretty cool looking kaiju.
That being said, a little thing about Godzilla vs. Destroyer, it probably has some of the best special effects in the Heisei era, I think, in my opinion. Like, and because the thing I've noticed with the Heisei era is it starts out good, but somehow the effects start to get a bit lazier because the suits are much heavier, which is why you got all the beam spanning. So basically, you know, like um, they would only just shoot laser beams at each other. They wouldn't really like run towards each other or try and whack each other
Oh
or
right,
whatever.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, and one of the two. There's two cool effects in versus Destroy, and then both involves Godzilla. One is where the military freezes him. I actually don't know how they did that effect. If they just morphed just different stills of Godzilla to make it look like the face is like freezing, but it's a really decent effect. And of course, the aforementioned melting scene, I suppose, is also pretty well done, I think. But yeah, which again, I don't know how they did that. If my guess is, it's just a guess that the Godzilla was made of wax, and they put a skeleton inside the wax mold
Okay, yeah.
and melted it. That's my only logical thought of how they've done it. I might be wrong, but I don't know. Go into Toho Kingdoms forums, they'll probably tell me.
So someone will know.
Yeah, they'll probably tell me and start shouting and swearing. But oh dear.
News-wise, really strangely, the Australian government has revealed the plot line for the Godzilla vs. Kong sequel.
Mm-hmm. I'm very excited to hear this.
Yeah. Okay. So, you ready?
Yes.
We've got Kong, and he
Mm-hmm.
is going to be defending the Earth from the unusual and dangerous creatures that threaten his new home. That's all they've said.
Amazing. I can't. I'm buying tickets first day.
But it's so. I mean, they say Godzilla vs Kong sequel, but it might not even have Godzilla in it.
No.
This could be more of a back to Skull Island. This is going to be Kong. If it's his new home, he's going to be in whatever it's called, Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be a Kong centric film. He's probably. I'm guessing that the family, they're now in the research station, aren't they? Down there, he'll probably have to protect them a bit. And maybe they can help Kong, because Kong always struggled. As much as I hate to say it, he did struggle a lot, and the military had to step in a few times to help him. So it could be, that dynamic again.
I will say I really liked Kong's Skull Island when that came out. I think that's probably next to King of the Monsters, my favorite MonsterVerse film so far, at least, But Godzilla versus Kong, I don't know. That's my opinion on Godzilla versus Kong. We'll see. I guess I suppose it is nice that Godzilla's not in it. If Godzilla
Well,
is
yeah,
in it,
we
but
don't know. I mean, they say Godzilla versus Kong sequel, but as we know, it's really just the next film in the MonsterVerse. I
yeah,
think is what it is. And I don't. If anything, perhaps it'll be at the end, or there'll be a brief glimpse. But I think they're going to focus more on the human side and their
yeah,
relationship with Kong and the whole Hollow Earth. They don't need Godzilla really for this.
true. Yeah,
They can show some. They can even show the Titans that came in Godzilla King of the Monsters. Perhaps we can see some of them, or they can just be completely new
yeah.
Hollow Earth creatures to explore.
Well, that's the thing. Like the MonsterVerse could continue onwards, even if they stopped using Godzilla, because just of all the different creatures they introduced, plus Legendary owning the rights to their version of Kong as well, so they could easily just do just Kong sequels, really.
Yeah, I mean, how did you feel about the humans in Godzilla vs Kong? Were they too flat for you, or were they interesting enough? Or
Um,
okay,
yes. Oh dear. Yeah. The humans in Godzilla versus Kong are very underdeveloped. I'll just say that. No, that's a very honest answer. Like,
so maybe they can develop them more in
yeah,
this next film.
yeah. Here's hoping. I think, actually, it was funny. I was in Waterstones the other day, and the novelization for Godzilla versus Kong is still available to buy.
Okay.
Surprisingly, yeah. I was tempted. No, I didn't buy it.
Yeah, you've got enough books. We know that.
Yeah, but I have heard that it is like my guess is it was based on like an early draft of the script, or perhaps or because it has like more scenes with like character development and all that in it, especially the character Ren Serizawa, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Oh yes,
That would be
that character.
that would be good because yeah, wasn't really much in the film.
Yeah, what does he do? He appears for one scene. He gets strapped into Mechagodzilla and he gets his brain cooked. That's
Yeah,
about it.
that's pretty much it. It felt like quite a waste.
Yeah. Oh man, I actually almost forgot he was in it. Contributed so much. Like, what's his relationship with Dr. Sarasawa? I was like, oh man.
Yeah, no, that is a shame. As you say, there could have been some good characters, but they focused on I guess, on the monster battles. That's what people were
Hmm.
there for. But
Yeah.
that's not to say you can't have some good characters, and they did have some that just
You know what's funny is that the bad guys in it kind of reminds me of King Kong Escapes somehow, like these really cheesy,
the bad guys were
stereotypical bad
too.
guys.
Oh yeah,
But King Kong Escapes, I think, has more charm, I think, because the bad guys are actually likable. Doctor Who, yeah, oh dear.
yeah. It was yeah. I enjoyed it. Enjoyed it. It was Gia, wasn't it, the girl?
Gia was the girl, yeah.
Yeah, it's like her and her mum. Well, not mum, but
Well, that's actually another aspect that I actually liked about the film as well, was the whole idea of Kong communicating with
yeah,
this little girl, or this little island girl, and you know, I kind of wish that was more elaborated on because I think that's the more interesting story. I think
that's it. That's what
than
I'm hoping that's the relationship they'll build upon in this new film
yeah, that's right.
because that was the strongest human like character in the in Godzilla vs Kong. So we want them to have that as a good foundation, build upon it. Let's forget about the baddies. We don't need an evil organization. We can just have Kong and his new family in his new home, just fighting, fighting to survive, or
Yeah,
make it comfortable for all to live.
just make it a fun adventure of just these weird creatures in the Hollow Earth. That's all they need to do.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, absolutely. We can hope for that.
but
Right. Um, I think we're done for the night. So, Connor, if nothing else,
if nothing else, try Blender to do some sculpting, and also if you can pick up a certain book that I've been reading. It is
ooh,
the Selected Short Stories of Ray Bradbury. You can buy it on Amazon. Um, it's I believe it's by I believe it's under the Everyman imprint. And it just has a collection of like all of Ray Bradbury's best short stories, including the Foghorn, which was the
nice.
inspiration for The Beast for 20,000 Fathoms, and The Sound of Thunder, which is also got made into a film, but that film's not that good. You know, uh, I've just
Oh,
been I've just been negative this whole podcast.
you have, yes, absolutely.
Oh man,
Yeah, because you've been reading a lot of short stories, haven't you, recently? Your pulpy
yeah.
books, and I want to find more. Well, I want to find some of them. I'm gonna see if I can get them on Kindle, nice and cheap.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Short stories are just like, like I don't know, like sometimes you just don't have time to read like long books, so just like a short story will do. But yeah. Anyways, Paul, if nothing else.
Well, I'm gonna say we're thinking about bringing back from a long time ago, like a kaiju movie club where I'll put a post on the Facebook group to say, "Hey, what film should we chat about?" I'll put some suggestions down, and you guys can put whatever you fancy, and then in a month or so, whenever we've watched it, we can all discuss it because I think that'd be great to have the community suggesting films that they think we'll like, or that they really like, and just want to hear our opinions because I know I don't have a lot of friends that I would speak to about kaiju films, except obviously here on the podcast. And so I imagine there's probably a lot of other people who are like, I really like this fandom, but I don't have anyone to chat to. So let's do it on here. Let's make this a forum for us to suggest and chat about monster movies. So if you've got any that you want us to see or that you're just curious about and think, hey, I'll put it down there and suggest it for others to watch, Pop that in the Kaiju Curry House Facebook group. I'll be doing a post by the time this is live. Other than that, I saw a video on the Godzilla YouTube channel literally last week. It's just come out. It's a great YouTube channel, by the way. They do these short little videos about Godzilla and stuff, and it's the American Toho that do it, and they tell you how to buy products from the official Godzilla store in Japan. So it's just like a 3-minute video that just walks you through the steps of going to the Godzilla website and how to get it delivered outside of Japan, which previously I don't think they did, but now they've set up something that allows you to order it.
It's practically just been impossible for the most part, unless you go for like a third-party source for the most part.
That's it. I'm guessing now Toho, because it's on the official Toho channel, so I think they've partnered with one of those like web forwarding companies so that you can now order directly from Toho, but someone then purchases it on your behalf to get it sent to you. It's just great that they're not gatekeeping in their house saying, hey, come on, buy our products.
That's right, UK listeners. Now you can buy your own pink Hedera, but
I'm sure it'll cost. And I dread how much it's going to cost, but you can do it.
It's worth every penny. Colin, you know it.
Oh well, yeah. So I'm going to see what's on there. Have a look, because there's always something that you see. You think, oh, I wish I could get that. And no, I actually can. It's just because now we're going, oh, I wish I could afford that. Just past the problem. Anyway, Connor, thank you very much. Today we have gone through a lot of awesomeness on episode 101, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for episode 102. So, woohoo! So until next time, folks, keep it kaiju.
Keep it kaiju. Oh god, I'm going full rant today.
Oh
man,
I'm not happy.
This is episode 101, the spicy episode.